Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel Curiosity Wax, and this is my review of the Sherlock special, The Abominable Bride. So the conceit of the episode is that, as we saw at the end of series 3, Sherlock went off on that plane. Well, he went on some sort of drug trip. Now I'm thinking possibly I've interpreted that Mycroft deliberately drugged him to solve something about Moriarty. Because when he picked up the notepaper at the end, he picked it all up and put it back into his little notebook, and I thought that meant, he might need that list for next time, so Sherlock can go into his head and sort of solve a case. But I don't know if that is true or whether Sherlock was just being a naughty boy. So they're all in the Victorian era in Sherlock's head, and there's this bride, and supposedly she starts shooting at people, and then she shoots herself, and then supposedly she comes back to life and starts taking vengeance on these men. And the solution that Sherlock came up with was that when she shot herself, she had another gun and she shot the ground, and somebody splattered blood on the curtains, and then she was actually fine. And then there was all the other brides were all these decoys because they had a veil over their face, and he finds this feminist group which has got Molly Hooper in it and Watson's maid, and it turns out they're getting revenge against these blokes. So, and some people have said that some people got offended by that, but possibly the inspiration behind that was when the suffragettes, one of the groups, they started this bodyguard group where they used more violent methods to achieve their aims, and one of the incidents they created was what's the word? I forgot the word. Where one person was speaking and they got like somebody else instead, and they fooled the police by having somebody do something, and the real person got away. Sort of decoy. So that, and I'm not very good at reviewing things, but I thought it was really cool, and I really liked the sets and all the Victoriana. It looked beautiful. I didn't find it particularly confusing to follow the plot, but reading back on some of the comments other people have said, it's like, you could see the clues early on. My first suspicion that I got to was, is that a torch? Hang on, is that a torch? It's like, so that's my first thought. But then people said, it was a dream, and so, they used it's all a dream thing. Well, of course it's going to be a dream or hallucination if they're in the Victorian era. It's going to be some conceit to it. It's not, because it's not a science fiction show, so there's got to be some sort of, pretty much you could only do like a dream or a remembrance of something that happened. It can't really be anything else unless you want it to be sci-fi, or to Moffat and Gatiss to say, scrap the modern, we're going back to the olden days. Of course it's going to be a dream, so I think it's a bit silly to just be like, get the ump that it was a dream. But I thought it was really cool how they did it. I really liked that when he was in the dream, the room started shaking, and that was like turbulence on the plane he was on. So I don't know how far he got on that plane or whether it went, and it just went round in a circle. I'm not sure. So, and that's why the transitions were all a bit weird, because he was on a drug trip. So somebody said the transitions get worse. Well, it's a drug trip, so it's going to have dodgy transitions, but I really enjoyed it. And I really liked the meta-ness of Mrs. Hudson saying, I don't get any lines. I thought that was funny. And I really liked how Molly had to dress up. Well, there's all in Sherlock side, obviously, how Molly had to dress up as a bloke with a moustache, looked very cool. And so, and then Sherlock has to sort of battle Moriarty on the top of the Reichenbach waterfall, and then he does that thing of jumping off the waterfall to get out of to wake himself up, because that means he'd wake himself up before he landed. I thought he was going to jump and fly up, because in my mind going upwards wakes me up from my dreams, and going downwards in a dream don't wake me up, so I always fly in my dreams. But I thought that was cool, and I just thought it was really cool, and I really enjoyed it, and I'd give it 10 out of 10. So it was really fun. Yeah. But also, if we have to also assume that when Sherlock wasn't in the scene, he was like sort of floating up in the corner just watching it. So he was like the camera in the scene, like say with Watson and the maid. Sherlock was the camera. So I thought that was interesting. So I thought I liked how they had stuff from where he really was on the plane filtering through to his sort of drug trip dream kind of thing. And I thought the costumes, I really liked that blue robe Sherlock had. That was gorgeous. I loved that. I love one like that. That's amazing. So that was beautiful. And then everybody's outfits looked awesome, and the set looked awesome. It's because it's like, well, it's still their lounge, but it just looked more luxurious and grand, and I just really liked it. So everybody did a fantastic job on this episode, and I quite like that little recap at the start with Lars Mikkelsen as like, oh, I hugged him, and I snuggled Ben too, and hugged Lou Brearley, so yay. And hugged R.L. James, who works on the sets in the art, and hugged Patrick, who helps out on the set too, on the production. So I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was really cool. So I hope you have enjoyed this review of Sherlock, the Abominable Bride. Thank you for watching.